All right, in a big diplomatic development in the Middle East, Ireland, Spain, and Norway are set to become the latest countries to recognize a Palestinian state in a historic move that's being celebrated by the Palestinian Authority and condemned by Israel.
In a coordinated move this morning, the leaders of all three countries announced they will formally recognize a Palestinian state on May 28th. 143 UN member countries recognize Palestine as a state. The U.S. is not one of them. Speaking earlier, the Irish Prime Minister said the move was long overdue and an important step to achieving peace in the Middle East.
Today, Ireland, Norway and Spain are announcing that we recognise the state of Palestine. I've spoken with a number of other leaders and counterparts, and I'm confident that further countries will join us in taking this important step in the coming weeks. We do so because we believe in freedom and justice as the fundamental principles of international law.
NBC News International correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now from Tel Aviv. Raf, walk us through what we're hearing from these leaders this morning, European leaders this morning. Why have they decided to recognize a Palestinian state now?
Well, Christine, Joe, they are basically saying that the only sustainable path for long-term peace between Israelis and Palestinians is the two-state solution. So a secure state of Israel living alongside of an independent state of Palestine. And they are saying, with basically every indicator going the wrong way, with so much violence, with Israeli settlements expanding, that they believe the best way to keep even the prospect of a two-state solution alive is to declare that they are recognizing a state of Palestine, that they will not allow this pathway to be closed. Now, these are three European states announcing this today. They're not the first European states. Others have done so, but we are expecting others to follow in the coming weeks. And that is potentially going to add to pressure on the Biden administration. The American position is they believe there should one day be a Palestinian state, but that it should come only through negotiations with Israel. But it may get to a point where most of the U.S.'s European allies are recognizing a Palestinian state, the U.S. starting to look a little more diplomatically isolated. I'll also say, guys, there is a certain symbolism to Norway recognizing a state of Palestine. The Oslo Accords, which was supposed to be the pathway towards peace, was negotiated in Norway back in the 1990s. There is a widespread understanding that that path has failed, and it is now the Norwegian government saying, even without this breakthrough in peace talks, we are recognizing a state of Palestine. Guys.
So, Raf, what's been the reaction from both the Palestinians and the Israelis to this move? And this just larger issue, the debate, the international pressure on the region, does that have any impact at all on the war in Gaza?
So, Joe, predictably, the Israelis are furious about this, and they are saying that this is a reward to both Hamas and Iran, that basically Hamas carried out the largest slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust, and 7 months later, it got recognition of a Palestinian state from these European countries. They say it will incentivize more terror. Israel is also recalling its ambassadors from these three countries in protests. The Palestinians are welcoming this. That is both the Palestinian Authority, which is the Palestinian semi-government in the occupied West Bank that is recognized by the international community. But Hamas is welcoming this also. And you are also seeing a number of Arab and Middle Eastern states saying that this is a welcome development. In terms of actually impacting the war itself, guys, unfortunately, this is unlikely to do much. Guys.
All right, Raf, thanks so much for that.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.